There are many physical and mental health benefits linked to cold exposure. However, jumping or sliding into open cold water every morning isn't really realistic or practical for most of us. We can though still get the amazing benefits from this practice without even stepping foot outside. Welcome to the world of cold showers. In this video, I'm going to let you know how I've managed to stay so consistent with daily cold showers for over 3 years. We'll also focus on the amazing mental benefits that you can get from introducing them into your daily routine, and then some tips that I figured out over the past few years that will help you to get started or be more consistent and also get the most benefit from this. Let's not hang about and get straight into it. I first started dabbling in cold showers about 5 years ago. I would go through periods of having them every single day and then I'd end up missing a few days. It's especially unpleasant to get yourself straight into a cold shower in a freezing winter's morning in Scotland, I can assure you. I didn't naturally have the same enthusiasm for the cold as my dog did when she was younger. I eventually started to have normal warm showers for the first few minutes, but towards the end I just knocked the heat right off and turned it down to as cold as it would go as quickly as possible. I then made the rule that I had to cover every part of my body at least once in the cold water. I then increased this to twice, and for the past 3 years I do this at least 3 times. Oddly enough, at the time when I first started doing this, I'd never heard of having a hot shower and then turn it down to cold before. But after doing a bit of research to see if anybody else did this, I realised that it was already a thing and some people also called it a Scottish shower. As with any good habit, consistency is key. Since I started this practice, I've watched some videos where people say that having a hot shower that goes to cold isn't really classed as having a cold shower, and you have to go straight into a cold shower to get any sort of benefits from it. I disagree with this entirely. Are you better to have a handful of cold showers over a few months and then eventually never do them again? Or do it the Scottish way and have it as something that you can realistically see yourself doing for the rest of your life? There's just no way that I'm going to be consistently having freezing cold showers every single day for the rest of my life and never having another hot shower again. Apart from anything, I love having warm showers. At the start, when I only had cold showers, I also kind of felt like I was punishing myself for something. When I was in the cold, I would think things like, this is your punishment for not doing this or that. It made me feel rubbish. With having the hot shower and then immediately cold, I never think like this anymore, and I now embrace the cold. This is not to say that I don't sometimes just jump straight into a cold shower. I do still have them on occasion, but it's normally on a hot summer's day after I've had a run or done some exercise. I actually now love the contrast of going from the hot and then immediately into the cold. I especially look forward to this in the winter when the water coming through the pipes is significantly colder. I also sometimes now turn the heat up for about 10 seconds just before knocking it down into the cold, so there's even more of a contrast. All of the mental benefits I got from doing cold showers didn't appear straight away. There were a few that happened initially, but some then appeared over time or certainly seemed to get stronger over a period of time. The initial ones I noticed were cold as a caffeine replacement. There's no doubt that the cold water wakes you up and gives you an initial jolt of energy. However, I noticed that it wasn't just the initial jolt. There's also a longer lasting alertness and boost of energy that seems to last for a good few hours after the cold exposure. And it doesn't end with a crash and leave you needing another pick-me-up again like caffeine does. It just gradually kind of tapers off and leads you back to kind of baseline without even noticing it. Once you've got over the initial gasp and settled into it as much as you can, you get much clearer thoughts and clarity of mind. Like the initial jolt of energy, this doesn't just wear off straight away and seems to last for a few hours. I also feel like after I get out of the cold, I'm much more productive. Another immediate benefit was feeling alive. Do you sometimes ever feel like you're stuck in a bit of a rut? Like life's sometimes just passing you by and you're either thinking about the past or the future too much and not living in the moment? If you expose yourself to cold water through either submersing yourself or having a cold shower, there's absolutely no getting away from the present moment that you're in. It's like reality is giving you a most welcome slap in the face. This is definitely more prominent when you're under or in the water, but it also lasts but not as intensely for a period of time after. If you've enjoyed this so far, I'd really appreciate if you could hit the like button. The next couple of benefits are ones that I started to notice after a longer period of consistently having cold showers. The first is by confronting adversity head on, especially at the start of the day. You over time become more likely to take on challenges that are more difficult in the short term, but more likely to be beneficial over a longer period of time. For example, exercise, diet, and your overall levels of productivity. Regular cold showers definitely help with practicing delayed gratification, which is ultimately one of the most important indicators for long-term success. Another long-term benefit is the fact that cold exposure just seems to make you happier and helps you to remain calm. Over time, it definitely elevates your mood. For those ready to jump in, here are some tips that I have learned having done this now consistently for several years. Have a warm shower as normal, but reduce the temperature slightly for the last 30 seconds or so. Continue to do this over time, decreasing the end temperature and increasing the time that you spend in the cold water. Take a deep breath before you decrease the temperature. But once you've decreased it, don't hold your breath and work towards breathing as normally as possible. Start with long, slow breaths, ideally through your nose. Start by covering your whole body in water. Start by covering your whole body in the cold water, then build this up to doing it twice and then 3 times. It's now just been part of my routine for so long that every time I have a shower, I just do this without even really thinking about it. Even when I take my kids swimming and have a shower afterwards, I always crank it down to as cold as possible at the end. It never fails to give them a fright. In the future, I definitely want to look into taking regular cold plunges. I feel that's like the next natural step in my cold exposure journey. I hope that this has been beneficial to you. Let us know in the comments of your experiences with cold showers and if you're planning on starting to introduce them. Hit subscribe if you want to hear about more topics that will benefit your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.